All right. My apologies for neglecting to turn the recording on at the beginning. We are talking about question types on the Duolingo English test. So here we go. So write about the photo. Write about the photo asks you to write one or more sentences. You're definitely going to write more than one sentence. They only have 1 minute to do it. The advice that I have found is to describe the picture in your first sentence, and then maybe write about how it makes you feel, or what the you can speculate about where it might be, what the experience of it might be, because that will give you more the opportunity to use more grammar structures and more vocabulary. Okay. So describing it in detail, definitely. And so, I mean, how would you describe this one? What do you think? How would you describe this one for the first sentence?
I see a brown lion lying or sleeping, quite happy. That's how I describe it.
Very good.
Very simple.
Yeah. Well, what more could you say? Let's think about synonyms for what you just said. Okay. So there's a brown lion. He's laying down and he's sleeping. He looks happy. You could say he looks contented. All right. You could say it must be a quiet place. Yeah, it is challenging. It is very challenging.
Yeah, I was watching some people that really were with writing pictures on YouTube. I was just how they're, as you said, experience. I can't get even close to that. I saw a lot of video and people how they pass their exams and how they write on the picture. Yeah, which is nice. But
Good.
for me, I keep it very short.
Okay. Well, you're going to need to, I mean, if you're going to use this exam, you've got to figure out a way to, you need to, we could use some of that speculative language. You could say the brown lion is lying on a wooden surface and smiling as if he had just eaten a very large dinner. And now we have one big long sentence.
Yeah, that seems more convenient than mine.
So it'll be good to, that'll be a good thing to practice, is finding ways to build more meaning. So you can say how he looks as if or as though. And in the second half of today's class, those are the words we're going to be looking at, words that will help us say more and do more in our writing. Okay, how do you add more juicy details to your sentences? All right, and also build structure in your writing at the same time. So, and very similarly, speak about a photo. All right, so this one, they say describe it as if you were, so much like a task one writing, only this is speaking, describe the image as if explaining it to someone who can't see it. So So the detail that you would want to say on this, what are the things that you would want to mention?
This is the place where you have to pay in park.
Okay, but describe the image. What do you see? What is that a picture of?
It's a signboard.
It's a picture of a sign.
Yeah, a pay to park.
Yes. And what is on the sign?
There is a hand which has a penny and it's dropping down to something, which is a clear sign of paying here.
Exactly. What else do you see on the sign?
We see the arrow downwards,
Yes.
which shows the location where to pay.
Very good. Very good. So that's the idea. You want to say it's got the words pay to park at the bottom, an illustration of a hand dropping a coin, and letter P in a circle with an arrow pointing down to indicate where to pay. Really good. So that's all those details are what you're looking to say. All right. So getting in all the details, that's what it means about as if explaining it to someone who can't see it. All right. So very much like the task 1 writing in IELTS, you're really focusing on what do I see on this one. All right. Read then write. Well, this is basically the same sort of writing prompt. It's simply a writing prompt. So there we go. So they're going to be some kind, something to write about, an instruction. Describe a time you were surprised. What happened? Okay. And here's where the IELTS teacher in me goes, because you are not allowed to have a pencil and piece of paper. There is no way to plan this. You have to plan it and write it in your head. You've got 5 minutes to do it. So I am going to advise that you take some time to think about it. So what was a time when you were surprised?
You have to recall a very small story that might have
Yeah.
happened.
Exactly. So what you want to do is think, oh, okay, someone threw a birthday party for me I wasn't expecting. So, okay, I'm going to use that. So then I need to think about what are the things that I want to say about that. So spend 30 seconds, whatever, as much time as you can. This is why it will be really good to practice these, because but it's only 50 words, but you want to get the most out of those 50 words.
It's most like explaining a situation.
Yeah.
And the expression of your thoughts. And this reminds me some sort of questions like they usually do it in the recorded interview. Like, for example, they will ask a question, tell me about the time when you might have influenced the decision of your manager.
Oh, very good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. So do try and decide where at least the start, the middle, and the end so will be. And again, the words we're going to use this afternoon, I'm sorry, in the second half, are going to help you build your score. Because although I wasn't expecting any sort of a party that year, some of my friends got together and threw me a surprise party. And a surprise celebration. Anyway, so using that to build complexity, although things like that, phrases that we've been working on, all of those clauses we've been working on to build the complexity of your sentences and increase the value of your marks. Definitely use the last 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds at the end, the last half minute to reread from the bottom up and check for errors. So, and then there are several of these as well, read then speak, which once again, you're given a prompt. This one's nice because this one's very much like the IELTS speaking test. Describe your favorite subject. This one said there'll be an overall topic, describe your favorite subject in school, and then there'll be additional questions about it. Like the IELTS speaking test, you want to make sure you cover all 4 of these sub-questions, which actually in some ways makes it easier because you can say what the subject was, why it was good, and why it was important. So when I did the practice test, I got the question, who is your favorite artist or an artist you admire? And then, or a bunch of similar questions underneath. So, yeah, pretty straightforward. So, you will listen to a prompt and answer the question. I don't actually. Did you find one of these? Did you have one of these on your practice test, Fatima?
I think I haven't gotten here. I just kept repeating the first.
Yeah, I didn't. I haven't seen this one. I will have to. There is a walkthrough of the entire test. You can video on the Duolingo website that shows someone taking the entire test, which is really helpful.
It is quite hard, but I get to the pictures and I don't don't remember where I have. But then again, I just have to stop. Either sometimes my phone comes in, or I just have to. I lose the focus, and then I just have to, and again start from the beginning. Once you close the test, you have to start from the beginning. And as you said, actually, the questions each time is different.
Yes.
And even like the words and everything is every time is actually different.
Yeah. Well, being a computer generated thing, they've got a huge bank of questions, and it's really not hard to generate another random practice test. So it's
Oh, I actually got here.
I'm sorry.
I did this one. I did this one.
Uh-huh.
I did this one, yeah.
Okay. So then there'll be another, this is a longer reading section now. What they do is you have to fill in it's a word fill. You use the drop downs on this side to select the word to go into each section. And then it goes on to completing the passage. So they take that part that you've just read, and you have to find the section, the sentence that should go in here in between these 2 parts. And then there's an overall, there's a highlight section where it asks you to answer this question by highlighting the section of the text that includes the answer. And then it's the identify the idea is to give the overall, show your overall understanding of the passage that you've read. And then finally, what would be the best title for it? So those should look really familiar from the IELTS reading section. The nice thing is it's over one single paragraph, and you've actually had an interactive experience of reading it because you've been filling in the blanks as you go. So I think the reading is actually really nice. It's certainly more forgiving than the IELTS reading exam. Then you have another writing sample. I believe that this one is not marked. But it will appear on your results page. Okay, so this is basically a sample of writing that you will be sending to the universities that you apply to. All right. And then there is a speaking sample, which was not previously marked, but in the future will be, to give a further speaking sample. And again, this recording will be sent with your results to any university that you apply to. If you send your scores to a university, they will get this little recording as well. Okay, and that is the whole test. So these are the frequencies of the tests, questions, and so all of the ones that have specific correct and incorrect answers are immediately marked, of course, like the reading and listening tests. The productive or open response correct question types are marked for grammar, and that's why it will take 2 days. So any questions about the test itself?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I figured it out.
Say again?
I figured it out. I just need more practice.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is to keep going to that free practice, and because you can take this as many times as you want. I believe you do have to log into the you do have to create a login in order to do these, and so make sure that it is linked to the email address that you are going to be using in the long run. Should you take the test, make sure, so because you're only allowed one account in Duolingo. Yes?
Jen, I got a question.
Yes, please.
Although you explained it very well, and obviously that's a good idea to go to practice test, but I will ask you a question generally. How you find it different from the IELTS?
Ooh. It's a whole nother world. To my mind, they insist that you don't need any special skills to take this test, unlike the IELTS exam. So on the IELTS, I've been focusing on how you approach the questions, making sure you read the questions first, all of those skills that we've been talking about for the IELTS. They say that this one you can come in and just, so long as your English is good, you will score well. We all know that's crazy. Every exam has its techniques. It's the nature of it. So I don't think it's easier. I don't think it's harder. I think it is simply different.
Part of my question was about the credibility. Like IELTS is a very well-known thing, and honestly, I just heard this Duolingo thing just now, so I don't know if when it comes to the academic credibility or professional credibility, how you see this.
Okay, so the first, and to my mind, you don't want to take either the IELTS or the Duolingo test until you are actually applying to university. Okay, if you want to, in fact, best is to get a provisional place at university and then book the test, right? Because the test results are only valid for 2 years. You don't want to take the test and then find out that, oh, well, the university that you want, you can't do, or there's something in the way. Get that provisional place and then book your English test to match. All right, that would be my advice, my best advice, is then you know that you're preparing for the exam and you know exactly which exam that university will accept. Okay, so you can go in here and like I tried typing in London and there we go. Here's a bunch of the universities in London that accept it. Here, try. There we go. We've got 2 universities in, well, 1 university in Glasgow. So we've got Bristol, so University of Bristol accepts it. If you go there, you can find out what kind of score you need. So you could go to the link straight to the university. And most of them require 135. There is, oh, that was the other thing. Understand your scores. So this is an example of how the scores are marked. But the most important thing, of course, oops. Is that in the appendix? There is actually at the bottom, I'm going to give you a link to this guide. There are practice questions at the bottom. Let me see if that's in the appendix. Oh yeah, there's the score that you get. And here's the comparison to TOEFL, which we don't care about. We're looking at IELTS. The comparison with IELTS. So if you require a 7, you need to get 130 or above on this test. When you take the practice test, they will give you a range that your score would predictively fall into. The experience of other people in the experience of other people who have taken this the full exam after doing the practice is that their score on the full exam was about in the middle. So on my first practice, I got 110 to 145. So I would have, if I took the actual exam, I would be more likely to end up with, so between 110, so between 6 and 100 and there. So halfway in between, I would get either a 6.5 or a 7 equivalent. But like I said, it was my first practice and I know a little more about how to respond to things now. It's very confusing the first time. Take a lot of practices if you're planning on doing this.
Are you really saying like you gave a practice test and you got the score that you mentioned?
Yep.
Oh.
But
then
that was
ours, if that's the case, then mine would be somewhere between 65 and 75.
not at all. That was not knowing the test. What it demonstrates, yes, I find it surprising too. But I think what it demonstrates is that practice is important. And I think the more that you practice the test, definitely the better it will be, because it's all of those moments when you're kind of confused about, well, what are they really asking? What do they really want? So I have found, I'll let you know, I'll keep taking them and I'll let you know if I get to the top. Or should I say when I get to the top? I have,
Can I ask you please a question?
yes, please.
Some universities requires TOEFL. So what difference between TOEFL and IELTS?
Oh, TOEFL and IELTS are very similar. Which university are you talking about?
Manchester Metropolitan.
Okay. They should have a requirement level for IELTS as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
650 for the IELTS. Yeah, they have for IELTS and
Yeah.
TOEFL. But which one is easier?
The yes and no. Neither the TOEFL or the IELTS is easier. The TOEFL is an American, or originated in America, okay, in the US. So it is slightly more skewed to American English, ever so slightly. It's just got a slightly different structure than the IELTS, but otherwise it is very similar. Okay, they are equivalent.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
They don't offer Duolingo. They don't ask for Duolingo for the admission requirements. No.
This is a problem. Not all universities do. So this is a great option if the university you're applying to accepts it. Okay, and you can go into the Find Universities page here on the Duolingo and make sure that your university accepts it. And if they do, it's a great option. And like I said, we've got free places to take it, so that, which is great, you know, free vouchers to take the exam, which is fantastic. But only if your university accepts it at this point. Preparing for the IELTS is always, I will still say that there is a value in preparing for the IELTS, even if you end up being able to take something like the Duolingo test, because I really do wish that I had had the skills that I teach for the IELTS before I started my undergraduate degree. It would have made studying philosophy ever so much easier. That said, I'm still a fan of the IELTS because I see a connection between the skills on that exam and things you actually need to do in your course. I might get a guest speaker in to tell you about that, because one of my students from last year is working. She's doing a foundation year, and the essay writing and the reading techniques have all been really useful to her in this year. So and I really recommend, if you have the opportunity to do a foundation year before starting your course, it's a great way to become comfortable within the academic setting that you're going to be working. It gives you just a little bit more time to get ready so that you can really get the maximum marks in your university course. So everybody wants to come out with the first, right? So there are, let's see now, the other things that I wanted to show you about this exam.
Excuse me, can you just go back to the comparison slide? Yeah, so this can give us a very good understanding of how our score on IELTS would be, because it doesn't provide such kind of facility for the practice test, I believe. So that's a good thing to do, to make a practice and
Yep.
see what your level would be on IELTS.
Yeah.
And can you go?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right.
Can you go down? There was another slide after this. Um yeah, can you go a little bit up to? So this is surf. The
Oh, yeah.
reason I was interested in this, like I had another kind of exam. It was almost the same. It was given to me by one of the employers, and it was EF set they was calling. So
Oh,
the
okay.
score I got was uh, also had a comparison on the certificate for surf. So in surf, it
Yeah.
was equivalent to C1. That was
Okay.
my score.
Oh, very good.
So
Very
now I can put it here and I can see what my score would be in Duolingo. So all these things are, the
Yeah, they're very
probabilities
useful.
and possibilities. It doesn't exactly tell you, but it gives you a very rough understanding of where you are or where you would be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does, it's very helpful. And let's see. So some of the things that I've already told you are good test taking techniques for this particular exam. Many of them I got from this gentleman, and there's also sorry, I didn't save the um yeah. So this is the Duolingo English test YouTube page. And they have very, very good videos on here. I spent a lot of the last few days watching lots and lots of videos on how to make sure that everything works. I recommend the playlists because she goes over the rules and requirements and all of the question types and ways to prepare, which is really good. And there is a thank you. There is also a walkthrough, which is, I think, available. I think there's a link here. Oh, right. It was in the yeah. Where? Oh, come on. Show me the thing. Test process, adaptive testing, blah, 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 blah. Helpful videos, yes, the test walkthrough. So yeah. So there's a complete walkthrough of the entire test. That's someone actually taking the entire test. So I highly recommend looking at that as well. But so once you have used up, looked at all of the videos that are appropriate on their YouTube page, this gentleman has created a business teaching for this exam, and he's got some very good tips for the various sections and the various types of questions. And I will have all of these links in the notes and in the email for this week. Okay, so I really like his test question type videos. He is, of course, selling a course, but you can get quite a lot out of his advice in his videos. So you don't have to pay for the course. The free videos are really worth a watch. Anyway, so any questions about this at this point? It's any questions at all about this particular exam?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, good. So let's take a big deep breath, say goodbye to Duolingo, and start looking at words that help you say more. So does everyone remember what we were working on last week? What were we working on last week? I've got a few people I designed this class for who are not here, but hopefully they'll see it in the videos. One of the questions that came up last week was, are there phrases, is there anything that you can memorize that can help you in the IELTS writing? And I said very strongly, no, because if you memorize sentences and put them into your writing, the examiners will see immediately that it is something that you've memorized. This is also true of the Duolingo test. If in any of the verbal responses or they interpret, if they think that you are reciting something memorized, they'll be able to tell. Okay, so I haven't written this as a script, and you can tell because I'm stopping and starting, and that's natural conversation, it's natural speech. So that's what they're looking for. And also, and in the IELTS writing, again, if you memorize things, it's not going to fit perfectly your essay. So let's look at this. What can we learn? What can we memorize and use that will add to our score, that will build the strength without letting people think that we've memorized it? So it's more about it being useful than being memorized. So here we go. I'm gonna share my screen again. And here we are. That's the beginning of the Duolingo links. I will include the Duolingo YouTube video as well. Channel. Are YouTube links helpful to you? Have you been able to use them? Is this good? A little bit? All right. So what we can do, we can't memorize things, but we can learn words that help us say more. It's not a sentence, that's a phrase. It's a title more than anything. Here, let's just make that a title. There we go. Words that help you say more. So I have some headings here. Yeah, bold those. So we want to add information. We want to express reasons, describe results. These are all the things that will link our sentences together in our paragraphs and in our essays. So here we go. We've got additives. So you're adding information, you're giving a reason, you're demonstrating or expressing results, or the purpose of something, the why of something. Or maybe you're contrasting something rather than adding information. You're saying this as opposed to that, different from. You can put in expressions of time, what came before and what came after. Which leads us into sequencing. What was first, second, third, right? You want to use that when you are explaining, when you are writing out your additional ideas. So I believe that everyone should have access to online courses are very good because of these three reasons. First, second, right? So we want to use sequencing words to describe, to bring the reader along, to show them where the structure of our essay is. Giving examples and paraphrasing. What are the words we use to indicate to the reader, this is an example of this brilliant idea I've just shared. Okay, so I've got some words at the bottom of the screen. Where is this one? Where are those words going to go?
Examples.
Precisely. We've got it right there. Exactly. How about owing to? Where's that going to go? Owing to.
Participles.
Ooh, not quite. Not quite. That's a complicated one I did. If I said instead, because of.
So reasons.
Yes. Well, actually, yeah, exactly. So we'll put both of those up there.
Yeah.
So owing to is a little bit more complicated a word, a less common word than because of, but owing to. So an example of using that. Owing to the enormous investment required, they chose not to buy the boat.
Nice.
Which is easy because a boat is a hole in the water you throw money into. So
Yeah.
here we go. So we've got owing to. Excellent. How about therefore?
I think it's results.
Yes. Exactly. We use therefore to express results. So owing to the enormous investment required, they chose not to buy the boat. Therefore, they gazed at the sea from the land.
Yeah.
So we've got the reason and the result in that sentence. Excellent. So how about the next one? At the same time.
It's the time expression.
Yeah, of course, it's a time expression. There we go. How about although? Although. Is the thing after.
I was just thinking as well, sequence ordering.
Sequence ordering? Ah, Okay. Although.
I think it's contrast.
Yes.
I was confused between sequence order and then
Yeah.
contrast, but I choose sequence order.
Why is it contrast?
Because it's suggesting an opposite idea.
Yes. So whatever's on one side is going to be different from what's on the other side. Although it was a sunny day, I stayed in bed and read a book. So, let's see now. Although it was a rainy day, we hiked that mountain anyway. Although, yeah. So it's whatever's on the other side is different or a contrast to the other side. Okay, what about additionally?
Fatima, it's your turn.
Which one?
No, then you can go ahead. You get the easy one. Don't leave the hard ones to me.
I think it's additive. Okay.
Additive, of course it is. All right. That one was that was the easy one. How about the
Yeah.
next one? How about secondly? What is that? What do we use?
Over to Fatima.
You are mean, Albert, wallah. I don't know. I'm
That's okay.
a bling.
That's ordering and sequencing.
Yes, exactly. There we go. And how about the last one?
Same.
Ooh, is it?
What about purpose? You didn't leave anything for purpose then.
Yes. Why did you do it? Why let's see now, why did they buy the boat? In order to explore the world.
That's the reason. I think.
Yeah. So it's a purpose or a reason. There we go. And I'll do. Say again. Okay, so what are other additive words that we can use? Can you think of any others? What else?
Moreover.
Moreover. Excellent. Excellent word.
In addition.
Whoops. Usually I shut off all of my social media. Oh, I forgot. In addition to. Excellent. Any others?
I don't know. There is one more, but I am a little in doubt.
Yeah.
Besides.
Yeah.
And there's also a phrase that we can use that's really good for this.
Not only, but that's what I was confused
Ah.
about.
Exactly. Yes, we can use that phrase. So this will be this will be in the notes, of course, and you can always add to them. So how about some other reasons? What are some other reasons words?
Due to.
Due to. There's a very, very short word.
Sometimes we use knowing that this situation.
And since. So, as it was raining, we didn't go for a walk. Okay, that's a reason. Since it was raining, we didn't go for a walk. And then, therefore, we sat around and read books, which was ever so much fun. So what are some other results words that you can think of?
Consequently,
Ooh, very good.
as a result,
Excellent. Very good. And that's all I've got on my list, but if we come up with some more, we can add some. So how about purposes or reasons? We've got in order to. These tend to be longer phrases. I'll give you leading to.
having this in mind, and then
Ooh. That's actually potentially an additive one. So you could say having this in mind. So we've said, you know, the cost of a boat is really very high, and having this in mind, we can consider the length of time it would take to save the money to buy one. So it's additional information. So it could be used.
I think it could be used for both purposes. So sometimes when my clothes are too old, so in having this in mind, I go to buy new ones for myself to meet the purpose.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, potentially. Potentially. Yeah, I can see that working for purpose as well as for addition, and possibly even for contrast. Having this, you know, I don't usually like to walk in the rain. Having this in mind, my friend suggested we have tea instead.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so that's a very useful phrase, isn't it? So, what else do I have? Oh, come on, come on, fingers. For the purpose of.
Yes.
Very straightforward. And here's a fancy one. Preparing the way for. They saved up for years and bought the boat, preparing the way for traveling the world by sea.
Yeah, or to say it a bit shorter, so paving the way we usually.
Oh, paving the way. Very nice. That's an excellent. It's a wonderfully illustrative one as well. Very, very nice. Okay, how about some more contrast? Any other contrast you can think of?
Even though,
Even though.
though,
The shortest one?
but,
Yeah.
on the contrary,
Even if.
Ooh, even if. That is good. Very good. And the simple however. And come on, right? Keys. There we go. There we go. So there we are. How about time?
Simultaneously.
Ooh.
concurrently,
Excellent. Ooh.
In the meantime.
Excellent.
Beforehand.
during,
Subsequently. It means after.
Can we use subsequently and a result also?
Yes. Because a result is something that happens after something.
Yes.
So yes. There we go. Really good. So, and that's, you know, the awareness of these and practice with them. Okay. So we want to become more aware of these. So, and we want to practice with them. Secondly, what are the other words that we used for
So firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, that's
yes,
all.
okay.
But there is another one, I think next.
Yes. Secondly, so all of our ordinals.
Yeah.
Those are the good ones. And then next, exactly. What are some others?
finally,
How about simple one, just then.
Yeah.
after
Okay.
that,
First, then.
after,
Meanwhile, also can come under,
Yeah, it
it's
also,
time.
there'll be some overlap with time.
Yeah.
Exactly, because time does the same thing that the ordinals do, right? When
Yeah.
we use firstly, secondly, thirdly, well, we can also say concurrently, afterwards, subsequently, during, all
Yeah.
of these things. So there is some overlap between time and the sequencing words
Yes.
as well. But ooh, right. So how about examples and paraphrasing or rephrase? Sorry, paraphrasing and rephrasing.
For instance,
I had in conclusion, oops, what is it with my computer today? Okay. This one is an important one. And I'm going to put it, I had it over in examples and paraphrasing, and I'm going to put it over in sequencing. In conclusion is one of those very important ones that you will absolutely, I say that there's nothing you can memorize for this exam, for the IELTS exam, or the other one, but using the guideposts, the very specific guidepost words like in conclusion. Use it. It's simple. It's there. Make sure it's at the start of your concluding paragraph in your essay. Just like in the task 1, you want to describe what you see, and then you want to give an overall description of it. So I want you to use in conclusion. I want you to use the word overall to start that next sentence, because it will remind you exactly what it is you need to write. So there might not be any long sentences that you can memorize that will help, but there are short ones that will make you remember exactly what you need to write in the exam. So always use in conclusion. So other examples, what are other ways that we can indicate that what's next is an example? How about like?
Likewise.
Oh, and likewise. Yeah. That's very good too. Right. How about paraphrasing or rephrasing? I should probably have done these separately.
Yeah, this is a bit confusing. Honestly,
Which part?
the paraphrasing one.
Paraphrase. Yeah. I'm gonna so what do I mean by paraphrasing? It means saying the thing that you've already said, but slightly differently. So I'm gonna pop in a new box real quick.
Yeah, that would be better because
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Yeah, they're
Technically,
two.
in the example. Yeah.
I thought I could group them together. Oops. Not there. Let's put the cursor in the right place before we add that box. There we go. Right. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just going to take out this and put paraphrasing down here on its own. So there we go. Rephrasing, paraphrasing.
Usually we say in conversation, like I said.
Like I said.
As explained.
Not for writing.
Yeah.
I should say, I'll just say speech
Yeah.
only.
Or
You don't want to write that in your academic essay. Absolutely not. It's very good. Absolutely not academic language. Perfect for your speaking.
yeah, as explained.
As explained. As shown.
Yeah.
What's another?
To reiterate.
To reiterate. That is brilliant. Well done. I think I've missed a T in there. Oh no, now you're going to find out how badly I spell. Oh, I got it. Oh, amazing. I'm always looking for that red line underneath because it's all the time.
As mentioned.
Ooh, as mentioned. Very good. How about if you want to summarize something? So you've spent a lot of words saying it, and now you want to use just a few. You can say,
Can I say in my opinion or on the other hand? Or it's different?
okay, well, on the other hand would be, where? What would that be? On the other hand,
Contrast.
yeah. On the other hand is great, but it's contrast. In my opinion, is absolutely a phrase that you will use in the exam, but as a marker that that you understand the task, because you are asked to give your opinion.
And when you do some kind of subjective writing.
Exactly. So that is which task? Do you put in my opinion in task 1 or task 2?
Task both, I think, if we have like to explain for the chart.
No opinions in task 1. No opinions in task 1.
One. So it
You
should
are-
be task 2.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
In task 1, you are only describing what you see. Only describing what you see. Super important. Save your opinions for task 2. That's when they ask for them. Okay.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
no problem. But you can, in the conclusion, say in brief. And in other words. So if you're restating something, you can use all of these.
I love this one. The
In
very
other words,
last.
yeah.
When you try to make someone understand and he doesn't know, so you conclude the whole thing.
Exactly.
And give him all in one nutshell. I usually do this.
Mhm.
Then the guy say, okay, got it.
For instance, oh, actually, you know what? For instance, doesn't belong down there. Where does for
That's
instance
that's
belong?
examples.
Exactly. That one goes back up. And oh, in fact, we've already got it up there. I had them combined, but I'm going to I'm going to rewrite my my paper. Oh, you found that. I'm definitely going to rewrite my paper to because we've got more precision than the last time I taught this, even better. So excellent. So here we go. We've got this wonderful chart of beautiful phrases, and all of these will improve your marks. And more importantly than that, they will improve the clarity and flow and organization of your essay. Okay. So, I sent this along. You, of course, wouldn't have gotten it until
Again,
yesterday.
I think we missed one.
Oh, what did you miss? Go on.
Participles.
Oh, yes. Well,
And that's something that honestly, it was in my mind to ask about this. I still don't
okay.
have any idea. So what's participles?
Well, not even sure if that's the correct way of saying it. Having bought a boat, he sailed the ocean for a year. I'm stuck on the boat thing. Having bought a bicycle, he traveled the country.
No, if you could just explain like the idea, then we would probably come to know.
It's a way of linking ideas, all right, by showing how one action precipitates or causes or makes possible another action. So, simply what we're doing is we're linking actions. Having done this, this became possible.
Okay, so one example could be, I'm not sure if that's same kind of things, only if,
Only if.
yeah, like only if it rains will the picnic be cancelled.
Yes. And
The more you study, the more you will thinking
that's a separate one. I mean, yes. If this, then that. So once again, we're linking actions or conditions. So if it rains, then we won't go for a walk. Now, the one you just said, can you say again?
the more.
Oh, the more, that was it. The more, yes, exactly. The better. So basically, the more of first condition, the more, less, whatever of the other condition. All right. So, yeah, linking actions in this way, these phrases for linking actions. I think I'm going to take out that word and just say,
Yes, it's more clear now.
yeah, phrases for linking actions. That's much clearer than I prefer not using grammatical terms because none of you are going to go and teach grammar. So knowing the exact name for the structure is less important than really understanding how it works and what you use it for.
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, so we've got this great page of words to help you say more, and hopefully they will be really useful. Let's see if we can find some. So I set up a challenge. You've got this in last week's email. Sorry, it was late. And so we've worked on looking at a question, right? So we looked at a lot of questions last week to see what were the important words in the question. How did we read the question so that we would know what to answer? And then we thought of ideas for one, right? And tried to organize those ideas so that we would be able to write. So that's constructive. Let's try something destructive. All right. Let's see if we can pick apart an essay and find all of those things that we were working to build from the last week. So here we have an essay in the IELTS fashion. This one was scored at 8.5. Let's see how they did it. All right. So the first thing we want to figure out, can we, from what they have written, can we write the question that they were asking, that they were being asked? Can we find, now, what are we going to read to try and figure out what question they are answering? Where should that be in their essay?
Usually in the title or topic sentence.
Yes. Well, we don't use titles in IELTS ones, so you don't have that to go on. So it's going to be in
The first paragraph, the topic.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's read this and see if we can figure out what question they were answering. So let's look at this carefully. There is an argument that exploring space is a waste of money, and there are more urgent needs to be addressed on Earth, such as reducing poverty and preventing environmental destruction. However, I completely disagree with this opinion for 2 reasons.
So I think the writer is in favor of the space investment in research.
Yes, but we're looking for what are, so if you remember when we looked at questions last week, we looked for what was the subject of the question. Okay, what was the subject that they were asking us to talk about? And what was the key word that told us how to base our opinion? Right?
Yeah.
So, what is our, can you find in this paragraph, can you find our, what are the subject of this? What was the subject of the question? What's the content that they're being asked to explain? Sorry, I'm just going to try and move this up. Come on.
Like, do you agree or disagree?
But what are we being asked to agree or disagree to?
That to spend money on researching on space, waste money, and we have a lot to do on Earth to help people.
Exploring space in one word.
And urgent needs on Earth. And what's our opinion, the keywords are, is a waste. Okay. So do you see, so what did the question probably say? So the question was, is it better to explore space or is it a waste of money? And should that money be used on Earth?
It's about the waste of money.
Yeah, so that's it. Exactly. So can we, is it clear that they have understood? So we can test this out. I'll find the, actually, I'll go ahead and do that. Whoops, wait a minute, find the right page. Whoop. There we go. Here we are. And this is, yes, it's one of these from this link that I've sent you. And yeah, there we go. The question is, so the answer to the question is, wait, I'll do it up here. There we go. So the actual question was, space exploration is much too expensive and the money should be spent on more important things. What is your opinion? Is that clear? Have they, so we've got space exploration there. And so have they paraphrased the question well? Are they answering the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. That is, now remember from our, there are 4 criterion for marking this exam, this essay. 1 is task completion. Did you understand the question? Did this person understand the question?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's the most important part. So remember, that's a quarter of the mark, understanding the question and addressing it fully. Okay.
And he has broken down the question very well. And if you see the last bit of the paragraph, what's your opinion? So he adds his opinion very well,
Yes.
because he totally disagrees the approach.
The only thing that I would change to make this a number, to make this a 9, I would say I completely disagree with this opinion because of the importance of technology and the obscurity of the future.
Yes.
I would actually use the word technology and the fact that we can't predict the future. I would put those in that introduction.
Yeah.
All right.
If they ask if we disagree or not, we have to give an answer, or can sometimes we be in the middle? Like sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't.
You can
I agree.
say that you partially agree. So yeah, they're asking your opinion. You can say, I agree to an extent, but if you do that, you will have to make sure that you address exactly why, you will need to make sure that you address both sides that you agree and disagree with. And that will affect the structure of your exam, of your essay. Okay, you might end up with one paragraph on the things that you agree with and a paragraph on what you disagree with. Once again, your opinion is only useful in that it is the easiest thing for you to write and support, because remember, we need clear opinion, we need paragraphs with single no more than 1 or 2 ideas in them and fully supported with examples. Okay, so the essay you write needs to be guided by the requirements. What do you need to put in? Can you think of enough examples to explain to support what you say in each paragraph? All right. So if that's the best choice, use it. Okay. So yeah, the only thing I dislike about this is the 4 2 reasons. I think it's vague. There's no point in saying that, for the reasons of technology and the future. Because then remember, first paragraph, tell us what you're going to tell us. I want to know what those 2 paragraphs are going to be. I don't want to have to go hunting for those 2 reasons. Tell me what the 2 reasons are in the introduction. It's a good thing to do. Okay, so remember, we're also looking for usage of all of these wonderful words that help you say more. So let's take a look at their first paragraph and see what we find. So what, did it again. There we go. Right. So what is the, there we go. How have they started this paragraph? What have they done with this first paragraph to show, what language have they used to show their structure to the reader? It's not a trick question. It's a very easy one. Right? Remember, we're going to, as well as seeing what their arguments are, we're looking for all of those words and phrases that we just went over. Okay, so they've done a great job. The first paragraph starts with, first of all, my first point. It's we call these signposts. Another way of describing these words is they're signposting language. They're linking language, but there's signposts. They're things that are like road signs, like the street signs that tell you what street you're on when you're walking. They're signs that tell you where you are in the essay. Okay, so they've done a great start here. First of all, many of the technologies we take for granted today were originated thanks to another one of those causals, thanks to space research. Take satellite technology, for example. Recognize that phrase? Still with me? Which we depend on for broadcasting and weather forecasting. Without satellites, we would not be able to follow global events. So that's a lovely cause and effect one. Without, we would not. Nor give populations, ooh, there's a contrast one we forgot, isn't it? Nor give populations any warning of approaching storms. So really good technologies that we take for granted. And here's our examples. One example is satellite. What is the other example that they've given? Led to. There's another one of our results words. The development of new lightweight materials that offer us heat protection and enable food preservation. Yes? Yes, Alan? And here we go. Another one of those wonderful signposting words. Therefore, the challenge of sending human beings into space has often driven the development of new technologies that benefit our everyday lives. So that is a lovely summation there. All right. So let's look at, if we were writing an outline of this, we've got technologies from space research, right? So our outline is going to look like, our topic for this is technologies. And what are our examples? What are our examples that they've given? We've got satellites, right? And lightweight materials. Okay. You see how that works? This is what they've done. So when they were thinking of their ideas for this, they said, okay, I'm going to talk about technology and I'm going to talk about the future. Okay. So in technologies, what am I going to talk about? Oh, I can talk about satellites and lightweight materials. And then we have the examples. And the examples are global events and approaching storms. Okay. And materials for heat protection and food preservation. Those are the examples that they give. All right. And then what does this last sentence in this paragraph do? What is that last sentence doing? Therefore, the challenge of sending human beings into space has often driven the development of new technologies that benefit our everyday lives.
Sorry, what's the question
The
particularly?
question is, what is that sentence? What's the purpose of that sentence? What's it doing?
The purpose of that sentence is even if we spend more on a space research, it can still benefit people on Earth.
Yep, that's what it's saying. And so we've had the first sentence of the we've had the topic sentence. First of all, many of the technologies we take for granted today were originated thanks to space research. And what is this concluding sentence doing? Is it saying something different, or is it it's restating it and it's linking it to their opinion?
Yeah.
Okay, do you see how it's restating the topic sentence
Yeah.
and using the evidence? So we've got evidence in this section, and we've got here's how the evidence links to my opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so it ties it into a nice bundle so that we've got the topic sentence that says, I'm going to be talking about technology. All right, and then it gives the examples of two technologies. And then at the bottom, it says, now these technologies are beneficial, and that's how they support my opinion.
Yes.
Okay, so using that last sentence in the paragraph to tie it all together in a nice little bow. So kind of putting a bow on it. All right. That's what I want you to. So the bulk of this, I mean, this sentence, this paragraph, we've got, like I said, technologies and from space research. We've got our listed two technologies, satellites and lightweight materials. We've got examples of what their benefits. And then we've got that linking sentence that says, whoa, and these benefits we have because of space research. All right.
So one thing came to my mind, like no matter if you are writing a long essay or a short paragraph, the structure always remains the same. For example, introduce something, prove it, and restate it at the end.
Exactly. Precisely. That is why we spend all that time on paragraphs.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. That is exactly right. So that is what an English paragraph should look like. All right. They can be longer. You know, obviously this is short because you only have 40 minutes to write one of these, so it doesn't have to be long. But if you are writing a larger essay as part of your dissertation, then, you know, if you need a paragraph with more ideas in it, you can put them there. For readability, for ease, because somebody's got to mark even your dissertation, you do want to break things up into logical units, right? So even in a dissertation, you're not going to want more than 4 ideas in a paragraph.
Yeah, because no matter who the reader is, but when he is reading, simultaneously he is creating his train of thoughts, you know. And if you are introducing something new or jump here and there, so that train of thoughts is just derailed, you know.
When I was working on my master's thesis, what I kept trying to do, and this is a good way of thinking of it, you've got all these beautiful ideas in your head, and I can see all of the links between them. And the challenge is to get them onto the paper in a way that someone else can see them. And so that's why breaking it down into units, into these paragraph units, really helps with that communication.
And that's the whole art.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And that's why I use all of these techniques all the time. If I'm writing something, it doesn't matter what I'm writing. I've got a bunch of ideas. I get them out on paper or screen, and then I put them in order so that I can write them clearly, so that the person that I'm writing to, whoever it is, can understand what it is I'm trying to say.
Mm.
So great. We're finding the logic that this person used. Isn't that fun? So what have they done to signpost the next paragraph? How are we doing for time? Oh gosh, I've run over. I'm so sorry. I have too much fun with these things. I'm so sorry. All
The
right.
reading was
Well-
interesting, that's why.
Well, I will stop now. Try and find the structure of the second paragraph and look at how they've used all of this wonderful signposting language throughout. And it's a really good example of one of these. And then try and use that language to write the one that we worked on last week. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all very much. I'm so sorry I ran over. I completely lost track of time.
Thank you, Jan. It was really a wonderful class. I enjoyed it a lot, honestly.
Thank you.
I'm afraid I enjoy I enjoy the process a bit too much. So
It's okay.